Hey, welcome back. Again, this is something that I have I'm not pleased in speaking of. I'm not pleased in displaying and explaining a lot of things. Why these things happen. Another mega church pastor just was accused of he molested a minor when he started his ministry, and you guys know who I'm actually referring to, Robert Morris. I can just not. I really liked him at some point. I'll be honest with it. All of a sudden, something happened and changed in the way that I perceive his preaching and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that I'm very careful in acknowledging, that we have to test the spirits. We have to see by the fruit and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden something just happened in his preaching that I didn't like what he was saying. And, I went to the scriptures and proved that it was not true. So that moved me out of listening to his preachings. And I actually didn't for that long, I'll be honest with it. But, he's a good speaker. He's a good preacher. He exposed the Bible really well. And again, people, you have to know who you're listening to. You have to know the amount of things that you listen to is going to impact your soul. But anyway, let's go straight to this video. Let's watch it.
And we begin tonight in South Lake, where Pastor Robert Morris is no longer part of the church he founded. Gateway Church says Morris resigned today after a woman publicly claimed he sexually abused her when she was 12 years old.
Gateway is one of the largest churches in North Texas, and tonight we have new reaction from the accuser herself. She just released a statement. WFAA's Adriana de Alba is following the very latest.
Following accusations of sexual abuse, today Gateway Church announced its founder and senior pastor has resigned. Area politicians and his accuser are speaking out today as the church announces it has retained a law firm to investigate.
Tonight, new fallout from one of the largest churches in the country.
It's by grace, not works, that we're saved.
Pastor Robert Morris of Gateway, a megachurch in South Lake, has resigned amid allegations he sexually abused a child in the 80s.
It just happens to be God's time, I think, for it to come to light.
His accuser, Cindy Clemishire, alleges Morris molested her when she was only 12 and that it went on for years.
People should not be able to do this to children or to adults and get away with it.
Morris, a family friend, was in his early 20s, a traveling preacher, and already married. She says her family reported the alleged abuse to his former church decades ago before he briefly stepped away for counseling.
Briefly doesn't count. Hey, stay at the end. I'm going to give you my perspective, and I'm going to give you my testimony. I was also, when I was 8 years old, me and my brother, we were SA. I'm not going to go into details. Not details. I'm not going to say the name because of the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I'm going to give you a little bit of what I've been through. And it's something similar like that. Just stay at the end.
Sunday, Morris admitted he was involved in inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady. Following his resignation Tuesday, Clemishire said in a statement she's disappointed in the church and he should have been terminated.
I was very sexually immoral as a teenager.
Throughout his ministry, he has mentioned an extramarital relationship, but left out the person's age. Republican State Representative Nate Schatzline condemning the alleged actions, while Republican State Representative Giovanni Capriglione, who represents South Lake, said Clemishire is owed justice and Morris needs to be held accountable. The church board has retained law firm Haynes & Boone to independently investigate the case, saying, quote, "We regret we did not have the information that we now have." But Cindy argues the church knew when she filed a lawsuit in 2005.
And I've been sharing for years.
And decades later, people are finally listening. In DFW, I'm Adriana de Alba.
And we
Man. This is terrible. I am with the victim. I myself, I have 5 girls, and it's incredible how. Let me just fix my mic. It's incredible how twisted-minded people take advantage of minors and innocent people. That goes in every single way possible. I'm gonna give you what I'm coming from. I myself, like I said, I already shared multiple times. I was a pastor kid the same way, and if you guys know the story and the way she said it, the Morris, who used to be in his 20s, he got married. He was already married, and he already had a son, and also he used to go to homes to preach, and because he was a young evangelist, he used to be like that. He used to go homes, and he preached in the town where the little girl lived with her parents, and their parents opened up the house, the home, to Morris and his family, and they give the family of 3 back then the girls' room. So you guys can go into details and watch more videos about this, but it's terrible because he did this for so many years. Something similar happened to me. I already shared a little bit. My parents opened the door for missionaries. These ladies used to go to different towns from the denomination where my parents were from, and they opened the door. They stay for multiple days. I'll be honest, I blacked out. After what happened. I actually already shared with my therapist and stuff like that back then. I blacked out a lot of things. After what happened, that was my first time that I saw women's breast, and I was 8 years old. I was molested by this missionary women. Me and my brother. God knows how many times they did it. I did not speak up. I was afraid in many ways. I was sexually immoral in many ways as well. Pornography, you name it. God literally just gave me freedom in my 20s, and it was a process. I can tell you it was actually perfect. It was a process where I found myself fighting for my own life, fighting for the way that I believe, even though I knew God, even though I was a pastor kid, even though I was in the church, I didn't want to serve. I didn't want to do anything at some point. And then God told me at some point, I need you to get out of here. So that's how I came to the United States. I was going to go to Florida, but a lady, a pastor, she invited me to be a part of the to go to Bible college right here in the United States. So I migrated from Mexico here legally, and I was planning to go back to Mexico, and I got married with my wife after a long period of time. Me and my wife, well, just like I said, we've been married for it's gonna be 17 years this year. And I can tell you this, by the grace of God, I'm healed. I can speak about this. I can talk about it. I can see the repercussions and the behavior of this action of someone else's behavior did in my life. Me as a victim too, I can tell you this. I did not speak because I was afraid. I was afraid of speaking. I was afraid of what my parents thought about these people. I don't remember many words, but I remember things that they said to me and my brother that we shouldn't actually done, or I'm sorry, we shouldn't actually said anything because, my parents' ministry was going to be ruined. Well, at the end of the day, my parents' ministry was ruined. And that's a sad situation. It can happen to anyone. And to the point that my brother went a different way. He got worse. He went and had a life of addictions to the point in right now in his life currently he's fighting for his own life. And I actually spoke to him yesterday and we were sharing, and he's still fighting. I'm still praying. He's getting better, but at the same time he's still fighting. So just pray for my brother. The only way I can just help him is to maybe speak, just speaking, talking to him. If he needs support, he had support. He's been going through therapists and stuff like that, but he knows the Bible. He knows the Bible very well. I can tell you that. The only thing is, like, with the amount of information that we have, what are we gonna do with it? Now, talking about forgiveness, I forgave him. I passed. I don't know if they're still alive. I'll be honest with you. God bless him. I'm not gonna judge them, but at the same time, yes, they should have been corrected at some point because they were portraying and they were in the ministry. Now that actually is a very touchy subject. Why? Because according to 1 Timothy, there's qualifications for that, right? If one of the qualifications is if you're an immoral person, it's not gonna be an option for you to be a part of that. Now, he did something worse also. That is, it is just and here in the United States, it's simply as you're gonna be a child molester. So with that being said, you would have been to jail and serve all these years probably, and you have to be in the system. And every time you live somewhere, you cannot live around the school. You cannot be certain amount of feet away from kids and stuff. Like, you cannot serve in the children's ministry. You cannot serve in any way. So there's limitations. If there's limitations, there should have been limitations for him too. Now, he says that, he lived in purity after that. He was corrected. 2 years passed where a lot of people says that he got cut and that's why he's sorry. Something happened and what he was doing came out to life. Light. I'm sorry, light, not life. Came out to light. He was caught. Anyway, my point is this, and a lot of people actually see it in the comments. I can see it that they were like, "Well, Paul was a murderer and he did all this stuff, horrible stuff, and yet he was actually an apostle and considered actually one of the apostles too, and then the one who spread the gospel throughout to the Gentiles and stuff like that." Now, I got to tell you this: there's a difference between him, the apostle Paul, and Robert Morris. Robert Morris was in the ministry. Paul was not in the ministry. He was serving a religion. That was a job. It was a normal job for him. He was jealous of his religion, and he was acting in ignorance. You cannot say that Robert Morris was acting in ignorance when he did all the stuff, because he was a minister. He knew the word. He knew the consequences. He knew the qualifications for an elder. He knew all this stuff before he did what he did to this young lady. You cannot say that he didn't know he was ignorant at that point. He knew what he was doing. He thought he was going to get away with it. Now, it's hard. It is. I cannot believe, and I cannot actually. The amount of pain that this person went through, this little lady, this young lady back then. I was there at some point. I had a lot of pain in my heart, a lot of pain. It displayed and manifested in different ways. Watching pornography, living a promiscuous life at my young age, and thank God saved me from many things, from HIV, all this stuff, you name it. But mostly actually just pornography. That was my main problem when I was young, and God delivered me. I can tell you that because I came to repentance knowing that I needed help. And because I needed help, I just want to come and confess what I did to God and say, forgive me, give me a new life. Now, after that, I was not in the ministry. I actually just, like I said, I didn't never want to be in the ministry, to be honest with you. I always said it. I don't want to be a pastor. Until now, I'm not a pastor. I was ordained as a minister, but honestly, I never served. I never did anything with me and my wife when we went in our previous church. And I can tell you, I've been restored in that sense. So I've been restored. I can tell you this. And I'm so sorry for this, for the people who are going through this type of stuff. I'm sorry for the amount of pain this people did to her body. And I'm talking to the victims right now. I'm sorry this person did this to your body. He violated your body. And that's not okay. This is probably your dad who did that. There's no option for you just to say, I need to honor my father and my dad in that sense biblically, because he disqualified himself for that. Pastor Moore is disqualified back then from the ministry. He should have just focused on his family, restoring his marriage, living a quiet life like 1 Thessalonians 4:11. Now let's go into the Bible, and I'm just gonna finish with this. It's gonna be a short video today. Well, sometimes I can't stop talking, but this is 1 Timothy 5:19. Public ministry, public rebuke. Public ministry, public rebuke. It's nothing personal. It's simply biblical. And if you know all this stuff, James says we're going to be judged based on what we know. The more we know, more severe will be judged. So Paul is actually First Timothy. Obviously, he's sending this letter to Timothy, and he's explaining these things. And just listen to what he says. Do not listen to an accusation against an elder unless it is confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. It's been confirmed. They didn't listen. So now it's on them. So I can tell you this, that church is not going to last. Unfortunately, because of this, the church is not going to be that big anymore. Maybe there's going to be some faithful people, and I pray for that people. I pray for that church. I pray for the people who's hurt. Pray for people who's going to be hurting for I don't know how many long. I think this actually came out with Ruslan. I was watching what he was saying. Is like he's right in this sense. Like, people wants a king. There it is, your king. There it is, your king. Because you want a public figure representing God. We put this labels on people, and they believe the lie of the enemy, because sometimes the lie of the enemy becomes in power, becomes a truth in your life, because now you have the power you never had, and because you never were trained. And I'm going to talk about it in a bit, because you never were trained how to handle these feelings, how to handle power, how to handle this stuff. Your mind just go ballistic. You go crazy with this stuff. Those who sin, verse 20, those who sin should be reprimanded in front of the whole church. This will serve as a strong warning to others. I solemnly commend you in the presence of God and Christ Jesus and then the highest angels to obey these instructions without taking sides or showing favoritism to anyone. Never be in a hurry to appoint a church leader. Do not share in the sins of others. Keep yourself pure. Don't drink only water. And your sister told him that you ought to drink a little wine for the sake of your stomach, because of your sickness. Back then, drinking wine was believed that it helped your metabolism, your immune system and stuff like that. So that's why he's actually saying that. Don't take it like, oh, I'm gonna go drink and get drunk. No. He's saying it because there was some benefits of drinking wine, and I believe there's still some benefits, but I don't drink wine. I actually don't like it. It's too sour. Remember, the sins of some people are obvious, leading them to certain judgment, but there are others whose sins will not be revealed until later. In the same way, the good deeds of some people are obvious, and the good deeds done in secret will someday come to light. And I just based everything based on I'm sorry, what I said is just based on these verse right here. In this verse, it says that those who sin should be represented in front of the whole church, and this will serve as a strong warning to others. Public ministry, public rebuke. It is biblical. We are all sin in some way. We have sin. And C.S. Lewis, actually, I had it somewhere over here. There you go. C.S. Lewis said it, and I actually wrote it down because I was reading one of his books. C.S. Lewis says, "No man knows how bad he is until he has tried very hard to be good or to do good. No man knows how bad he is until he has tried very hard to be good." I can tell you this, our job as Christians is to fight the temptation, the struggle to avoid the sin. I'm this goes to the church ministry. This goes to a lot of people. I've been in the ministry. I've been behind all these scandals also, and I've seen this. We try to oppress the truth. We try to sugarcoat everything. We try to swipe it under the rug so we don't lose our power, so we don't lose what we've so many years we've done, and we serve God with all the stuff. At the end of the day, God is showing, listen to me, at the end of the day, God is showing us right now that the church belongs to him, not to a name, not to a celebrity pastor. Let me go back to my screen. Not to a celebrity pastor, not to a name, power, nothing. It belongs to him. He is showing us right now with all these falling pastors who are just like falling like flies, and I'm not surprised who's gonna come next. I'm not surprised. It's just a matter of time. What is happening right now is God is exposing the truth. God is exposing that He is the God of His church. He is the Savior of His church. He is the King of His church. He is the God of His church. He is the one who we meet on Sundays. It's all about Him, not about the men of God. It's all about Him, not about Robert Morris, not about Mr. Evans, not about all these pastors who have fallen. And I pray for his family. I pray for his family and their families too, because sometimes they just follow up. They just follow. They try to suppress and try to cover up all the stuff, and that's one thing, and that's a problem many times with ministries, that they try to cover up the truth and they create more damage. It's like damage control. We suppress the truth instead of recognizing we are human. We're going to make mistakes. We are going to be in fault many times, and we treat this men of God like gods. This men of God, this people, many times they take the bride's attention from God to themselves, which is horrible, because now we see that this system has fallen. It's fallen. And then one of the things is, I always said it, the ministry needs a new reform in that sense, because we teach our leaders or our pastors, and back then I remember all the ministries in the schools, the Bible schools and seminaries back then, they used to teach these preachers to preach, but they never taught them how to live and lead a godly life. They never taught him 1 Timothy, the qualifications for an elder. They never made it a great. I would have just be thankful to understand that there's qualifications. That if you actually want a position in the church, is a good thing according to Paul. But the thing is, you got to understand, public ministry is going to be a public rebuke. So you got to better be careful how you lead your life. You better be careful how you give the example to others. You got to remember that you're here to teach others. It's really bad, guys. It's really bad. Really, really bad. I'm so sorry for what happened. Sorry to this lady. I'm sad for what she's been through. I pray for her family. I also pray for Robert Morris's family too. I pray for the Church of Gateway. I really like that church at some point. It's hard. It's hard. Crisis management. Now, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with all this stuff? Crisis management. I already said it. Well, I said it at some point. The church is so bad in crisis management. Really bad. The system of the church, not the Bible. The system men have implemented in the church. It's really bad. It's horrible. That's exactly what God is showing us right now. That system is falling apart. All right, guys, put your comments down below. Let me know what's happening. I know a lot of people are mad. I know a lot of people are sad also, but it is what it is. God is showing us that He is the King of His people. God is showing us that there's no pastor in this earth that has authority like the authority God has over His church. We're not the rocks. We're not the pillars of the church. We are just servants. That's just a reminder. All right. I'll see you guys later. Talk to you.